Hi, folks. Listen, I feel wonderful, but I slept all night last night from 9 or 10 until 15 till 8 almost, give or take a few minutes. And I had breakfast a little after 8, but then I dozed off and well, while I was having breakfast, I called my granny just to talk to her, but I didn't call her back after I had breakfast, because even though I felt great and even though I feel great now, I dozed off, but she called me back around just before 11. She said, "Hi Blake, how you doing?" And I told her I feel great. I told her I feel good, but she said I sounded weird. And whenever she or my grandpa or my dad are worried about me, they drive me crazy if they check on me a lot. So after I talked to her and told her I felt good, she sounded a little miffed, so she just hung up. So then I sent my grandpa a text, and I asked him to tell her if she calls me back and wants to know how I'm doing. I asked my grandpa to just tell her I will hang up if she asks how I'm doing, because if my dad or his parents, which are the two grandparents that I'm talking about, if they are worried or concerned about me, they drive me crazy and they get on my nerves. And sometimes, if they check on me a lot, they make me mad enough to cuss. So folks, I am just here to tell you, if people bother you or aggravate you, if they ask you questions that make you mad or get on your nerves because they drive you crazy or for any other reason, I learned through this experience today. If someone asks you something that aggravates you, or if two people or more ask you the same thing over and over again on a regular basis, if they ask you how you doing or something like that so much, even when you're doing fine, I've learned if they ask you how are you doing or how are you feeling on a regular basis when you are healthy or when you feel perfectly fine, I've learned if that makes you mad, just hang on. Just hang up on them, turn your phone off, or ignore them. Because Matthew 22 says we are to love our neighbors as ourselves, and Matthew 7 says, do unto others as you would have done unto you. So I learned through this experience, if you do not want people aggravating you or driving you crazy, if they ask you how you feeling, how you doing, at a time when you feel good or when you're doing good, at those times, we are to just hang up on them or ignore them. But since Luke 6 says to love your enemies and do good to them and lend to them and don't be concerned that they might not repay, we just need to ask the Lord for help. Because Matthew 6 says, if we forgive those that have sinned against us, we will be forgiven. But if we do not forgive them, we shall not be forgiven. So if we do not want others driving us crazy, but if we want to obey the Bible verse in Matthew 22 that says, love your neighbor as yourself, and if we want to obey Luke 6 and love our enemies, we are to just ask the Lord for help, obeying Matthew 22 and Luke 6. And then we should just hang up on those calls, ignore those calls, or turn our phone off. But we should do those things after we ask the Lord for help. But this Bible verse cannot be emphasized enough. Matthew 6 says, if we forgive those that have sinned against us, we will be forgiven, but if we do not forgive them, we shall not be forgiven. And also, Philippians 4 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And also, if none of these techniques will help you deal with a pain in the butt or neck, there is one or two more Bible verses that can help you. James chapter 1 says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God who giveth to all men liberally, as long as you have faith. But Romans 10 says, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by God's word, which means if you need or want more faith, you will spend more time reading the Bible.